Got it.
All right, are we good to go?
No, not yet. Give me.
Most.
Melinda, one of the thoughts I had real quick was that we get to a part on the presentation where there's a video, and after that,
We're live.
so we will have to navigate through that together when we do. So we
Okay,
go.
perfect. John,
All
you're
right.
up.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of 1 Million Cups Fairfax chapter. We're so glad that you can join us this morning. I can't believe it's already end of August. Please take a moment to check in on our app. If you don't have an app, you can download from the App Store, Google Play Store. This will help us to know that you're here and allows us to grow as a community. And also, feel free to use a chat function on the Zoom to introduce yourself, your name, the company that you're with, and the contact information if you're open to do so. Next slide. All right, so we are the Fairfax chapter of 1 Million Cups. There are over 160 chapters all across the country. We gather every Wednesday morning to build a community of entrepreneurs and educate one another in solving business challenges. And so if you're excited about those things, I would look forward to having another great meeting today. Next slide. Okay, so the mission of 1 Million Cups is pretty simple. It is to come together as entrepreneurs and as a community to help each other grow and overcome business challenges and all throughout the United States. Next slide. Right, so the way we run our meeting is very different than some of the ones that you may have you've attended or used to. It's based on 3 key pillars. We focus on presentation, not a pitch or sell to offer services. We focus on making authentic connections and not networking. And we are run by the volunteers in the community and for the community. Next slide. So our culture is our goal is to create a safe and supportive environment where everyone feels welcomed and different ideas are shared. We're radical about being inclusive, and we're an all volunteer-led community. We need everyone's support, whether you're an organizer, a presenter, or attendee. I would look forward to having a fantastic discussion this morning. Next slide. So we like to welcome everyone to join the community. There are many ways that you can help the community grow. First, attend the meeting every week. And second, participate in the conversation and provide feedback during the presentation segment later in the meeting today. And third, engage us with online. Share our content on social media. That will help to get the word out to everyone within your community. And finally, invite your friends and colleagues to help the community grow. Next slide. All right, these folks are the faces for the organizers who work behind the scene to make the meetings possible. And I would like to take this time to ask the organizer to quickly introduce themselves, your name and the company that you're with, starting with Donnell Johns.
Donnell Johns, founder of Veterans Grow Virginia.
So Jen Dalton, Tony Barnett, Mayosha, I don't think she's here as well. I'm John Yu with Office Evolution. Melinda?
Melinda Sigel, and I own a business called the Sales and Marketing Connection.
And John and Ronetta couldn't join us this week. I am Rosemarie Savino. I am with Gravitate. After 18 months, I finally figured out which hand to use. And we are a communication and file sharing platform for business professionals.
Great, thank you. All right, so at this time, I'd like to recognize our sponsors. Normally when we meet in person, we have 2 sponsors, our space sponsor as well as a monthly coffee sponsor. Even though we're meeting virtually, we'd still like to recognize for their great contribution to the community. First, our space sponsor is Office Evolution, and I'll speak to about that. I'm John Yu again. With Office Evolution, we are a co-working space provider in Tyson's Corner. We provide flexible office space as well as a virtual space, and we partner with a local business organization such as 1MillionCups to help to support the local business community. Next, I'd like to introduce our coffee sponsor for the month of August, which is DC Fempreneur. Lisa, could you tell us a little bit about about DC Fempreneur?
Absolutely. Thank you, John. And those are beautiful pictures of your space. I've been there and I love it there. So I think those are great pictures. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Shapiro. I am the founder and CEO of DC Fempreneur. We are a local community for female entrepreneurs in the nation's capital. We provide both online and in-person opportunities for networking, collaboration, continuing education, and helpful resources to help member businesses become more purposeful and profitable.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Next slide. All right, so before we have our presenter speak, let me walk you through some ground rules for our virtual meeting. First, I'd like to ask everyone to keep your microphone on mute during their presentation. And after the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to provide feedback on the challenge question and also ask questions. Our moderator today is Melinda Sigel, who will help facilitate the conversation today. And so with that, let me introduce our presenter this morning. He is Nima Anvar from GuestChat. Nima, please take it away. Nima, I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thanks so much. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So let me tell you about who we are. If we could start with the lead slide, please. Right, so my name is Nima. I live on the island of Grenada. I've been here for 23 years. We have been working on a project that it will make more sense to you once you know my background. Basically, for the last 23 years, me along with my family have been running 2 hotels. We actually own the properties, and in recent times, as a result of COVID, we have decided that at least I have decided I'm going to pivot into the hotel technology space, which is why I'm here today with you guys. We've just developed let's just say, a way to increase engagement on hotel websites between visitors and hotel owners or managers. So, and let me tell you the problem that we came across. In 2019, Siesta, one of the budget property hotel, had $42,000 worth of commissions that we paid to Expedia, Booking.com, and the like, what we call the OTAs or the online travel agents. And it's a wonderful thing because we get bookings, but it's a horrible thing because we pay 20% commissions on every single booking for every single night. So it's a love-hate relationship. And we started looking into the booking process, which all of us are familiar with. Basically, when somebody wants to travel somewhere, they start on Google, eventually end up on Expedia and Booking.com. And then the research shows that on average, we end up going to 38 different sites, doing the research to figure out where we're going to stay. And that includes travel review sites like TripAdvisor, actual hotel websites. And then the irony of it is, the majority of us go back to the OTAs and make the booking there. And if there is a if there is a specific spot that we are working on now, it's that moment right before they decide to go back to Expedia, and they're still on your site. So we started looking and asked ourselves, what if there was a way that we could keep some of those guests and increase those direct bookings and decrease commissions? So what we did was I installed a live chat widget on one of our properties and personally watched the flow of visitors and such. And sure enough, there were plenty of people coming on our site. A little small hotel like ours in the middle of nowhere was getting enough traffic. And people were actually asking questions. I would have never known it without that live chat capability. And it turned out that the amount of people with all the questions they were asking about rates and availability was just too much for me. And sometimes it even became difficult for my staff to assist because they wouldn't be able to get in quickly enough to answer their questions, and the visitors would just leave and we would lose the booking. But I had basically proved the premise that there are people on my website and they're interested. So that's where we came up with the concept of GuestChat. And to give you an idea, I think most of you are familiar with what a chatbot is, but in the hotel industry, just think of it as a receptionist who's always there on the site, ready to answer any questions 24/7. And to give you an idea, let me show you. And this is what it did for us. It gave us all of this capability. Essentially being able to be there all the time, answering instantly, simultaneously, multiple chats. It gave rates and was able to hand off to live agents, and it increased our sales by 9%. So this is how it looked on our website. Just click the play there. There it is. So there's the widget. It sits on any site with 2 lines of code. It can open up automatically, or you can open it. And it says, I'm your virtual assistant. I can help with rates and availability. And how can I help? So doing a very, very quick test for availability. 2 adults, 0 children. And there it is. Those are our room categories. These are the occupancies, the various amenities in the rooms, and prices. And all you do is hit book, and it takes you straight to the booking engine where you can put name, phone number, address, and card, and you're good to go. So if you could just go to the next slide for me, it's going to probably repeat. There it is. Perfect. So these are the actual numbers that we had from January 2021 through the end of March, I believe. And if you notice, we had about 2,700 visitors on our site. Almost to the T, 10% interacted with the bot. And of that 10%, half of them asked for rates, which is significant. And in terms of how many of them actually made bookings, well, for an average booking value of $425, meaning they stayed, let's say, for 3 nights at $125 a night, over a 3-month period, we made $3,825. So if you look at the return on investment, if you could go to the next slide for me, thank you. That turns out to be, on a monthly basis, $1,275 that we made because of these interactions on a $100 a month investment. So we actually believe we can do this for other properties. And if we can get many properties on an annual subscription of $100 a month, specifically $850, we think we can reach the $1 million mark in revenue. We believe we can do it in 4 to 5 years. However, others feel that we can do it faster. So to give you an idea of who we're going after, we're going after the North American independent hotels. These are hotels that are 3-star to 4-star properties, somewhere over 50 rooms or more, with average nightly rate of about $150 a night. We believe that there would be great return on investment for those properties, and there's plenty. So, unfortunately, we're not the first to the dance. There are other chatbot companies all around the world. If you just click once for me, Linda, right there in Brazil, Ask Suite has dominated the South American market and is now traveling towards the United States and the Far East. Meanwhile, over in France, the leaders, Quick Text, are dominating Europe and have headed in the Far East direction as well. Now, meanwhile, as we're just starting out, our focus is to focus on North American market. That's okay, it's no big deal. So the bottom line here is that that's where our focus is. We want to get your assistance and target hotels who are willing to try our bot and give us feedback. That's basically it.
And your challenge question.
Right, sorry. And so the challenge question is, how should GuestChat identify contacts in the hospitality industry? Are you asking me or am I asking you?
You're asking us, and
Yes.
if you have any thoughts, please put your questions in the chat box or raise your hand, and I will call on you.
Melinda, Jessie has her hand up.
Oh, Jesse, go ahead. I'm just setting up so I can see everybody. Thank you.
Sure. Before I ask a question, it would be really helpful to know what you've already done to try and reach out to the hotels.
Yes, so we have 3 lines of let's say attack. So the first is my business partner is a former Minister of Tourism here in Grenada and has a lot of contacts in this region. And so he has been reaching out to various properties throughout the Caribbean to connect us and give us opportunities to pitch. So that's been the first line. The second line is that we have been working with an SDR team, and Shireen Mark, that you see on your screen, is one of those individuals that she's working with us to try to qualify leads and get us opportunity to do demos. And then finally, my last and kind of nicest is 1 Million Cups. We're actually going to the various communities and making this presentation in hopes that there would be people who have connections, and actually there are, and put us in touch with people who might be decision makers for hotels.
Question that I'll ask really quickly. Well, first I've got Paul. Paul, go ahead. And then
Thank you, Melinda. I don't know if you've reached out to this groups, but based on what you just said, commercial realtors are a great place to start. A lot of them are working with hotels right now, both buying and selling, especially with kind of what the market's been going through. I network with them a lot for those purchases, so they might be a group, as well as event planners. There are specific groups out there, and I'm happy to introduce you to some that partner with hotel chains, and smaller, not necessarily chains, but mom and pop hotels, and help with those events. So if those are useful, happy to do so. Those kind of centers of influence.
I really appreciate it. Yes, thank you.
Reggie, you're next.
Yeah, great presentation. Thank you, Nima. I was just going to mention the American Hotel and Lodging Association. I do have a contact there, and I could introduce you if you're not in touch with them already. And then I agree with the idea about event planners, because they work really heavily in that space as well. And the more of those people that you can get to know, I think they can make great introductions for you also.
Yes, thank you. I'll reach out, definitely.
In addition, there are they're not really travel agents, but they're brokers that work with a lot of companies on events, big events for their employees and big conventions. I can get you information on that so you can get in touch with groups like that. And in the meantime, Sarah's got a question.
Hi, thank you so much, Nima. It was a great presentation. I like the site a lot too. Very clear call to action, and you get to the story right away of what is the value prop. So I wanted to give you kudos on that. It's simple and clean. I have two connections that are independent real estate agents. I'm sorry, independent travel agents. So I don't know a lot about this industry, but I know whenever I say Expedia and the other folks, they roll their eyes as well. So I'm just thinking, I don't know if it would be, they do luxury higher end travel, but they might know of some people that you can connect with, especially in certain areas. You're given a really good target. So would it be helpful to connect you to independent travel agents that are doing that as a business? Is that a good connection for you?
Yes, absolutely. We'll be glad for any and all connections.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Thanks.
In addition to that, there are travel agent associations and hotel associations that you can connect with. And Lisa's got another question.
Yeah, so great presentation, Nima. I think your innovation is very clever and it seems very efficient. My question is, have you thought about going after high-end like Airbnb sort of inns? For example, you'll go out to North Carolina and see that there are houses that are for rent that are, $500 a night. They host 12 individuals, or they can sleep 12 or something like that. So that would be an independent, it's not a hotel, but it could be somebody who might be interested in maybe having their own website for their property and would benefit from your guest chat. So my question is, have you also thought about independent individuals who have properties that are looking to rent out, but they're not necessarily a hotel?
Yeah, it was suggested in I think St. Paul, Minneapolis, and actually the gentleman had connections like in that industry, but he just sort of never continued with that. I think that what you're describing is really good because the high end makes great sense. Whereas if it is, let's just say, more on the low end, it may not make sense for them to do it. So yes, this is a great idea and I'm going to follow up. Unless you have connections, Lisa.
Not necessarily. It was just really an idea to think about, okay, if this was my innovation, what would be other possible customer segments other than, an independent North American hotel, which I think Reggie's idea was good about going to associations and being a part of however they congregate themselves and meeting and making contacts with those independent owners like yourself. So if you're not already a member of associations or finding out where these hospitality industry people hang out in your industry and really spend time getting to know them and what their needs are.
Sure. Thank you.
I've got John Yu next, and then I have Jess, and then I've got a couple of comments that I'll throw in.
Great presentation, Nima. So I just had a question with regards to how, who are the decision makers? So if you're looking, these individual owners, they're part of a franchise of a bigger brand. And so I'm assuming you need to make some changes to their website. So do they have a control over making those changes, or does the brand as a headquarters make those changes?
Well, first of all, to answer all the questions, we have found that the ones who are the decision makers are either the general managers or the marketing managers, rarely the reservation manager. The owner generally doesn't make that decision. Anyway, in our experience, that hasn't been the case. And then it's not really any sort of major change that happens. They can They can literally control everything on the site in terms of the location of that widget, what's on it, how it's branded. We don't have anything. It's all sort of up to them. They can put it wherever they want. They can change it from a circle to a tab. They can move it up, down, and change everything from the picture, everything.
Next, we've got Jess and then Rosemary, and then I've got a couple of thoughts.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. First, are you offering hotels a free pilot to join?
Yes, so that's actually a great topic to talk about. So here was our original thing. For all of 2021, it's free. We want people to use it, give us feedback as we develop, and they work with us. In 2022, as we see things picking up slightly, we were going to do the $99 a month on an annual subscription basis. And then in 2023, hopefully as things pick up, we were going to go back to what we thought was our original price, which is $150. Now that was our original thing. However, we've come up with another model, which we think is kind of cool. And you guys can give us feedback on that. So here's the model. So we will give you live chat on your website for free for life. That widget is capable of handling live chat. So it's sitting on the hotel website and you still have all the capabilities in terms of communicating with the guests, except you'll be like poor me when I was doing live chat without the automation. You know, I would literally have to like pull over on the side of the road to message somebody, you know? So then what we do is we say, but what we'll do is we'll give you 3 months with the bot for free. And then if you like it, it's $99. And if not, no problem. We'll take the bot capability off and you still have live chat. And I think you understand what the reasoning behind that is. But basically, because they'll be overwhelmed. And I'm pretty sure of that.
Okay, Rosemary.
Hey, Nima. So great presentation. I love the thought process that went into this. A lot of businesses struggle with how to communicate with their prospects. So this is a great way to solve an industry-specific issue. I have 2 suggestions. Well, 1 question and 1 suggestion. So my first question is, you had mentioned you did a lot of research before you went down the hospitality tech path.
Yeah.
In your research, did you find out either how independent hoteliers or hospitality companies were engaging with third-party sales? For example, are they Googling, how do I connect with Expedia, or is there some third party in the middle?
I didn't exactly understand the question, but let me just first say what I thought it was. Are you asking how the hotel connects with those third parties?
Yeah, how do they find them and how do they connect with them?
Okay, so hotels that are, let's just say, a little bit more developed and have that capability, have access to plenty of offerings from both independent software companies, but also, okay, there are these, let's just say, older legacy companies. And these have been companies that used to rule the space in terms of being able to offer rates and, you know, offering travel agents all these rates and everything. And then when Expedia and them came around, these dinosaur of companies had to shift and adjust. And so they started to offer similar services to hotels at high-end prices. And that's where the lower end softwares came in and started to just basically take away. So there's lots of software out there that gives hotels the ability to be able to just channel all their rates to Expedia in one button push.
Okay, so if let's just say I am starting out in the hospitality business and I want to, you know, use a booking service. so that I can book up my free rooms, even with a 20%. You know,
Yes.
I don't have the kind of experience that you have or someone else has, but
Yeah.
I'm an independent, so I'm not relying on a Hyatt or a Marriott reservation system. So
Yeah.
how do I find out what my options are? Is it a Google search? Is it partnerships? Because how you answer that, my recommendation
Yeah,
would
I
be,
get you.
if it's a Google search, then you should buy search terms, and there are plenty of folks that can help you with that. It's a relatively low cost, but if you can get people who are in the buying decision, I'm a hotelier, I need help filling my rooms, I Google, how do I do that? You are there with a great, you know, we increase 10%, here's the data, blah, blah, blah. That's a great low cost way to get some of those folks engaged with you. And if it's through third parties, then what you might want to do is pursue a referral network kind of approach,
Yeah.
where you actually work with whoever the referring partners are. Maybe in your case, they're hotel supply vendors. And you can say, hey, if you're starting a new account and you sell them our bot, we will give you $100 finder fee. That's real money. That's 1 month of revenue for you. And that's the cost to acquire. And you've done nothing else besides this referral program. So that was why I asked the question. I'll put it in the chat so you can think about it separately. My second thing, and I'll do this super quick, industry groups like TIA and some events like Powwow. You can tell I was in this 30 years ago. I don't even know if they do this anymore. But groups like that, even if they're having virtual conferences, you might want to see if you can buy sponsorship, book attendance, just so that you can put your brand out there and get that engagement. Again, I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Overstayed
Rosemary.
my chat welcome, but thank you, Nima.
No, I have to kind of process all that. So thank you.
I'm gonna go next and then Paul will, because I've written down a lot of things. Some of the stuff Rosemary actually covered. One of the first things I said is putting together a partnership program. And that would be for a lot of the folks that Rosemary talked about, but I also thought you might want to include airlines, car rental companies, and others. And maybe you call, I just wrote down a name, Diamond Club. You can come up with some kind of club or whatever you want to call it that they might belong to. But it would be a really great way. It would be your referral network. So some kind of partnership program that turns into a referral program would really be useful. The other thing I wrote down was travel incentive companies. When you said Minneapolis, boy, did that come back. There is a huge travel incentive company. They do add specialty stuff and other things too, but they've got a huge division, and I can help get you lists of travel incentive companies, which also goes to what I mentioned to you on the phone. There used to be, when they had the big premium incentive show every year in New York, where people came from all over the world to that event, they had on another floor, which was part of it, the travel incentive show. And you would see a lot of countries having trade show booths. So again, you may want to go to diplomats in different countries, because it would be getting more international hotels in it. You can also look at, as I said earlier, associations for hotels and other travel type programs. There's also AAA. I mean, the people go to AAA. I mean, that's a real obvious one. Anybody that belongs to it for road service gets all the other stuff, and they're always talking about travel. And AARP. Some of, where there's a lot of crossover. So throwing those things out. In the meantime, Paul, it's your turn.
Thank you.
One suggestion I was going to have, I actually know some people at Expedia and these different organizations. Right before COVID hit and during, they laid off a ton of their relationship managers. And I mean, I just went on LinkedIn and searched for that name for Expedia and who used to work there. It's an easy search function. So if you can find one of those people, connect with them. they know all the hotels in each region. So you can literally
Yeah.
just pay them a consulting fee and get introductions
Yeah.
that way.
That's a great idea. And I know people who've had that exact thing happen to them, Paul. That's a great idea. Thank you for that.
On top of that idea, I forgot to say visitors bureaus across the country, like my community, Alexandria, every community has a visitors bureau, and you could probably get go through them to get the big hotels in the communities all over in the United States.
We have Phyllis with her hand up.
Oh, and Phyllis, your turn. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Good morning. Thanks, Nima. That was an awesome presentation. One thing I was thinking is, and I don't know the industry at all, so I'm not sure if this idea would be applicable, but if you had a list of on your GuestChat website of all the hotels that are currently using your product, then maybe their competitors would say, oh, that's why they're doing so much better than we are. I need to sign up for this too.
Yeah.
And then it would also be a good way for consumers who want to, who are looking for an independent hotel. GuestChat, the website would act as sort of a clearinghouse for consumers to go and say like, oh, I know that if I go to these, the websites of these hotels, it'll be really easy for me to book, but I'm not paying, you know, Expedia or booking.com. I'm not supporting like the big companies. I'm still supporting the small businesses.
Yes, thank you. I will.
Am I missing anybody's hand being raised? Yes, there's Deb's hand. Okay, Deb Cohen.
Morning, everyone. Deb Cohen, management consultant. So I'm not sure how practical this idea is, but I'll just throw it out. So large trade associations do conferences every year. And now they're starting to come back and hopefully they will continue. But when you've got a conference that has 15,000 or 20,000 people, and the large cities can do that, they have a housing block. And what they do is they have a ton of hotels, usually large hotels. But when you have a housing block in a city like, I'm just going to say Chicago or wherever, you go from the big hotels all the way down to the little hotels. And I'm wondering if there would be some possibility for you to have a grouping of smaller hotels in a city that have your bot that you could sort of work with an association to promote. And that way you could say, well, here's this one small hotel, but if there were 5 or 6 of them, that gives a little bit more energy around including that in a housing block for a large conference. So again, I don't know the logistics of how that would work, but just the idea that you somehow fit in with the housing needs of larger conferences in cities that occur across, the country.
Thank you.
Excellent. Jess, I'm sorry.
No worries. This is just a thought I had when you were going through how it works, and you might have already thought about this, but for a future iteration, when people drop off, I'm curious, you might have done research as to why they're dropping off, but my guess is that they maybe then hopped over to other websites to compare prices, right? Yeah. So if I could quickly see, oh, look, this price is exactly the same as Expedia or maybe even less, then you might increase that conversion rate considerably.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, that's where we're headed. So we realized, you notice those engagement rates were 10%. So we figured, hey, if we can get 10% with a chat bot, we can get another 10% with what they call conversion tools, which is exactly what Jess just talked about. Something pops up and says, this is the rate on, and this is the rate on, but our rate is, or something pops up over here and says, reviews on TripAdvisor, 5-star review, boom, boom. You don't have to go to TripAdvisor to look at it anymore. But the same techniques that they use on booking.com and stuff, something will pop up right over and it'll say, hey, only 2 rooms left, sort of thing. So we believe that if we get 10% engagement with those and 10% engagement with the chatbot, we are doing great, Thank you for that, Jess.
Sure. That just gave me an idea of doing maybe a bot campaign to major hotel chains, anywhere from Holiday Inn up. that if you could get the names of the people at the top and send them something using your bot to do it,
Yeah.
you would be outside the box, getting some voice in there.
Yeah.
I don't see any other hands up. Danelle, do you want to ask the last question?
Yes, I have a little feedback and then we'll ask the last question. So this is an amazing, I love ingenuity and how it works. When you find a problem and you solve a problem, it's great. And then you turn it into something else for yourself as well as your competitors. We have a 1 Million Cups entrepreneur. His name is Henry Hunter, and he has a tool called Insider. And the way that Insider works is if you know who you need to get in touch with, the title that they have, you can find all of the hotels or whatever that you're looking for and find the phone number and the email address for those individuals.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Insider, INCIDR.
Mm-hmm.
INCI.
Yeah, INCIDR.
Okay.
It's a great tool to identify, those individuals that you're looking for. And then you'll also find other insiders that may have a relationship with that hotel that can introduce you to that person. So it's a very powerful tool. I highly encourage you or anyone else that's in the industry where they need to get in touch with people inside an organization. That'd be a great tool. My final
that's great. Before you go into it, that's a really great thought. I've been working with Henry for the last 5 years on stuff, and he's probably going to come back late September or early October with a new challenge question. But what his insider does is he'll find other people, or you'll find other people through his network, and I could refer you into it and you can be on it right away, that are also calling on hotels. And
Great. It's great.
It's a great suggestion. Danelle, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to reinforce it a little.
Yeah, it's a great tool, and I highly recommend that you use that. But my final question is what can our 1 Million Cups community do for you?
Well, my answer to that is you guys already have, really. What you've done so far is worth gold. Yeah, I probably nobody's even said that to you guys before, in the sense of, no, you don't have to do anything else. I got you guys. I've written down all your names. I'm going to be trying to reach out to you on LinkedIn, and we're going to go back and look at all this recording and make sure that we try to action as many of those practical things as we can. So yeah, it was like, thank you so much.
So that information really wasn't free. You do have to come back and provide feedback for other entrepreneurs that come on our 1 Million Cups community. So that time is money. So we need a little bit of your time to come back and share the same type of love we shared with you today.
The thing is, let me say that too. Part of what I do on Wednesdays, and now I take my team with me, is we go to different 1 Million Cups. So our base is in Orlando, and Orlando's time zone is exactly with you guys. And then we go across the country, and I always finish at Irvine, California at the noon hour. So yes, you're definitely going to see me back. And I guess one of the things that I can bring to this group, just like you guys are, because let me just make another comment. Not only very, very intelligent people in this group, but really, really well connected and also able to think out of the box. Each group has its own unique kind of personality. This is a very, in my mind, a cerebral group. And it's quite unique. So what I bring to the table when I do is, because I'm aware of so many things going on all around the country, that's quite an asset, because kind of like what you guys did, like, hey, did you know about this thing? And when an entrepreneur finds something that maybe is in their field and that connection, but didn't know about it, that could be a huge help to them. So that's one of the things we can share by seeing, we see so many presentations every Wednesday.
No, thank you so much. And Jess, I know you have your hand up. Is that an accident, or you had some more?
One more suggestion really quickly.
Okay.
Sorry, I have so many comments. The great thing about what you're doing is you're approaching, people in the hotel industry that are most likely at the hotel and in a, creative vacation-like space, right? So you might consider doing some sort of creative, little marketing drop, like in the Caribbean, like a little cupcake with a flower, and then a piece of marketing, like a handwritten note about you, right? Like do something different that is reflective of the location that you're really targeting. I think that would be a creative, easy way to get someone's attention much faster than, a traditional like cold call per se.
No, thank you for that feedback. Thank you again, Nima. I heard you say something about Orlando and you got to go back there, but you do have to come back here. We're not giving you a choice.
Will do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm turning this back over to John Yu.
Right, great. Well, Nima, thanks again for joining us this morning. Thank you everyone for another highly productive and engaging meeting this morning. Next week, we have a company called PHA Scarves Plus. So another great presentation, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Next slide. Yeah, so we have an awesome lineup of presenters in September, as you can see, and the left, the slide there. But we're always looking for a great presenter. So if you have a business or you're someone who owns a business or facing a business challenge, please have them reach out to one of our organizers or go to 1MillionCups and apply. You'll definitely get lots of feedback and a way to solve business challenges. All right, so I'd like to take a moment to introduce our newly appointed brand ambassadors. These are the folks who work behind the scene to get the word out about our fantastic organization out to the community. And let me take a moment to ask the brand ambassadors, if you're still here, introduce yourself. I think I saw Sarah.
Hey guys, my name's Sarah Condi. Lovely to meet you. I work for a company called MBO Partners, and we help independent consultants kind of optimize their back office and their businesses to work within the Fortune 500. And then I also have an LLC on the side doing sales coaching and development. It's lovely to meet all of you. I got into 1MillionCups because John Yu was a lead that came from my old boss. And he told me about this, and I couldn't believe there was a community that provides the kind of advisory that this community does for free. And I was so intrigued, and now I'm hooked, and I've gotten the Kool-Aid, and I'm so excited to share with the community. It's so lovely to meet you all.
Thanks, Sarah. Is Reggie or Lisa still on?
Both of them are still on the call. Reggie, you're next.
Yeah, hi, Reggie Holmes with Enthuse Creative, strategic branding and design company based here in Tysons, and happy to be part of the ambassador team, and looking forward to helping more and more people find out about this great community.
Lisa?
Lisa had to leave.
Okay, all right, so yeah, so thank you, Sarah and Reggie and other ambassadors that was on that sheet. So if you're interested in becoming a brand ambassador or even an organizer for our chapter, this is a great opportunity to serve the community or also be part of the community, awesome community that you can network and you can learn more about each other's business and be part of it. Next slide. So these are some of the some notorieties where our past presenters have presented and become super famous on spotlighted a number of papers and in the news. So you can take a look at that. Next slide. All right, so we have a number of upcoming events that are locally around in month of September and October and coming few months, few weeks. So let me ask Jennifer, if you don't mind, to kind of highlight some of the events that might be interesting.
Is Jennifer Rose still on the call?
All right, so I'll just have you guys
I'll put them in the chat as soon as I can.
Great.
Right at the end of the meeting.
Thank you. All right, well, I want to, again, thank you again. You know, entrepreneurship, it could be a lonely journey, but it is a journey. It takes endurance, as you know, and you'll face many challenges and that you need to overcome. And so, but you don't have to take that journey by yourself. You have an organization like 1MillionCups to take advantage of the resources that we have available. Right, so I want to quick plug to Kaufman Foundation, who's helped to create this fantastic organization, our community. And if you want to learn more about some of the stuff that the Kaufman Foundation is doing, feel free to go to their website. And again, I want to thank everyone. I think this is our last slide. Yeah, I want to thank everyone for joining, and we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same channel.
And if you guys want to wait for 1 second, I'm gonna paste the events in the chat.